Welcome back, Cat 5 class. Today we're going to go over problem 321 in Autocad. Alright, so problem 321, let's go ahead and look at the solutions. As you can see, the three views are incomplete. So we are going to complete these three views in AutoCAD. Let's cheat and go all the way down the PDF file. And here it is. So here's what it should look like once it's completed, with all the visible object lines, hidden lines, and center lines. Okay, so let's get started. Problem 321. Right, so here is the .3D XML file opened in eDrawings. And just a reminder, you do not draw these tangent lines or this line. Any 3D software, when it visually generates a cylinder, for example, it needs a seam to close it off as it generates the cylinder. So we do not draw these tangent lines. If you were to turn them off, we turn off the edges and just go with shaded, you can no longer see those lines. Again, tangent line, you're not supposed to be able to see it because we're going from a flat to a cylindrical shape and there's tangency, right? So you shouldn't be able to see that line, or you should not see it, right? You can guesstimate it, but so once again, I'm turning on edges, but this is the tangent line. Same thing with this one, and we do not draw them. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the AutoCAD file. So I've already made some changes visually, as you can see, with respect to the one I emailed you. So I just changed the line colors and thicknesses just for lectures, right, and for videos. All right, so here is our part, problem 3-21, as you can see up here at the top. This is the file that I currently have open, problem 3-21. So let's start with the front view. Okay, so I'm gonna hold the wheel on the mouse and pan, and I roll the wheel to zoom in and out, right? You can always double click to do a zoom fit. Okay, let me pan again to center it and then roll the wheel to zoom in and out. All right, so let's complete this view first. All right, so let's go back to the 3D model. Okay, so here's the isometric view, and let's take a look at the front view. All right, so we pretty much already have the shape, but we are missing some hidden lines and center lines. Okay, so if I slightly rotate it, here we have this yellow, simple, plain hole, right, circular hole. We cannot see it from the front view, nor this green cutout here, or pocket or scallop, can't see it. So we need to represent it with hidden lines and center lines. And once again, even though this could be considered the front view, right? We get more information if we call this the front view. Yeah, so you can make the argument, hey teacher, how about we make this the front view? If you want to, go ahead. If you want to start from scratch, eventually you will be creating your own drawings from scratch in the second part of the semester. So if you were to make this the front view and this the right side view, hey, that works also. Okay, and same thing. Some can make the argument this has more information. Okay, so let's go back to what the author presents as the front view, the author of our textbook. And again, typically your front view is the view with the most information, shows you the most details or features of the part. All right, so once again, we have this yellow hole. So we need to represent it with hidden lines, the red hidden lines, and an axis line, right? A green center axis line. Same thing with the green pocket here. We need to show the depth, and we'll show a red hidden line to represent the depth, and a green center line to represent the center of this arc, or the cylindrical shape, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and draw those features. Back to AutoCAD. All right, so I'm gonna cheat slightly, right? It's okay, just don't get caught. So we know we need this hole that goes all the way through, right? Through here. So it drills all the way through. So we're going to draw hidden lines. So let's go to the hidden layer. And we're going to go from this top quadrant, right? So let's use the line command. So we're going to go off of this quadrant of the circle, right? So we just track it along and we know it starts there. And, oh, let me turn on ortho, right? Turn on ortho. It'll guarantee I'm creating a horizontal or vertical line, or at least it's trying to force a horizontal or vertical line. It can always snap elsewhere. Okay, and it's all this shaking that you see going on. It's not me. It's not my age, right? I'm not quite there yet. It's AutoCAD trying to snap to anything and everything because of object snap, right? We have object snap turned on. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw a red hidden line and click. Okay, so now we can right click enter or hit enter or escape to exit. Okay, let's do the same thing at the bottom quadrant. Okay, so line command once again or hit space bar. To repeat the command, I hit space bar and there it is. It knows I want to use the last command, the line command. So we're going to track from the bottom. Click and click. Okay, so there it is. Hit escape. And as I mentioned before, we have these yellow, or in your case, magenta construction lines. This is to help us guide us along. Everything is supposed to line up. Everything. It's 3 views, but it's the same part. So everything is supposed to line up. If things don't line up, it's incorrect. All right, so now let's do the center line. Okay, so let's jump over to the green center layer. Use the line command. Okay, so we're going to go off of the center of the hole. So I'm going to slightly track away. And don't forget to add a little bit of an extension. Click and click. Right? There it is. Okay, if you're not happy with the extension, you want to adjust it. It's a good idea to turn off object snap while you're trying to adjust it so it doesn't try to snap to an intersection, an endpoint, a midpoint, a center, etc. So I'm going to turn off object snap. Click on the green center line and you can use the grips to adjust. Make sure to have ortho on so you can keep it horizontal in this case. So you can always adjust it and you can just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? All right, so I'm going to hit escape to deselect. Okay, I'm done. All right, so now let's do the pocket here, or this opening here, and we're going to project it down. Okay, so let's do the green center line first since we are in the green center layer. So let's use line command again, or you can type in L, enter in the command line, L for line, and enter. Okay, so from the center of the arc, oh, need to turn on object snap, right? Don't worry, you'll get used to it, turning it on and off. So from the center of the arc, we're going to go straight down. Okay, and you always want a little bit of an extension, extend it beyond the white visible object lines. I'm holding the wheel to pan up. Okay, I'll let go of the wheel now, and again, slightly overextend, and that's good. Hit escape. How much do you extend? Just eyeball it. Okay, so it's better to have it way overextended than way too close to the object line. Something you don't want is for it to be really close. Let me turn off object snap. Okay, I have ortho on. Since I have ortho on, it's only trying to move horizontally or vertically, right, for the endpoint. So one thing you don't want is to be so close that it's hard to see. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. Okay, this is extended, but if you were to zoom out, it looks almost that it's quite not extended enough, right? So visually, just go in there, click it, and it's better to be overextended than slightly extended. Okay, there it is. And hit escape to deselect. Okay, I'm going to double click on the wheel. All right, so double click, we'll do a zoom fit. Okay, don't forget the red hidden line. So this is the area, when I'm grading your drawings, it's the first area I look for. Many of you will remember to do the hole that goes all the way through, but some of you will forget about this area. We need to represent it here. Okay, so let's do the red hidden line. So you're supposed to represent the depth of this pocket here, just like in the 3D model. Even though we don't see it from the front view, we know it's there. So use your X-ray vision to show the depth of this pocket, and we're going to represent it with the hidden line. Okay, so let's go to the red hidden layer. And let's use the line command. And again, we're going to go to the depth, turn on object snap, go to the depth here and go straight down, and there it is. Again, red hidden lines, you do not extend. You have to draw it to the exact size. And hit escape to deselect, and there it is. Okay, so, and we'll worry about the line type scale later on at the end. I know some of you are not happy with the gap size on the hidden lines and or center lines. We'll fix that at the very end. Okay, so now we're still in the front view. Looks like we're done, but hey, we have a semicircle. Okay, so anytime we see a semicircle or a complete circle or anything in between, we want to add a green center line, right, or center mark. If it's just a partial, like a 45, or I should say 90-degree angle arc, we don't tend to put center lines on that. But this one is a half a circle, 180 degrees, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and let me hit escape to deselect, and we're going to draw a green center line at this arc, and here is its center. All right, so you know what? Might as well introduce you to another command. Let's see if I can find it here. I wasn't going to bring this up yet, but might as well. Let me go to the Annotate tab. So up here we can see more commands. If we go to Annotate, we have the center mark. Okay, so some of you are like, oh, you should have mentioned this before. Could have saved us a lot of time. Yeah, but I don't want to overwhelm you with too many commands and with too much info at first, because I don't want to overwhelm you and discourage you. But here we have, in the Annotate tab, we have the center mark command. So if I click on it, and if you select an arc or a circle, click on it, right? There it is. It throws in the green center mark. Ta-da! A lot easier, right? So I'll leave it up to you if you want to do it the shortcut way with the center mark command, or draw each individual line. Okay, and you can keep on clicking on all circles or semicircles. So we can keep going if we want. Hey, might as well take care of this one. So we're still in the center mark command. We're still there. Bam, there it is. Go to the little one over here, this little circle. And bam, there it is. And I think we got all of them. So let's go ahead and hit escape to exit the command. All right, so there it is. We have a bunch of center marks. All right, so now let's go back to Annotate, to the Home tab. My mistake, Home tab. Okay, we're back in Home tab. All right. And in our next lecture, I will cover some of these other commands that we haven't covered yet. Okay, just don't want to overwhelm you with too much info up front. All right. Okay, so now that we have our center mark, okay, so this one looks good over here. It's extended, as you can see. Now, something we do want to try and avoid is having this situation where we have this green center line overlapping an object line. Obviously, the object line will override a center line and a hidden line. Okay, object lines are you can see it physically, right? Visibly, you can see them, and we draw them as thicker lines than the hidden lines or center lines. You can leave it the way it is, but those of you that want to clean it up, make it look more presentable, we can move it towards the back, right? Remember, we can take a line. Notice how the center line is one entity. It's not two separate lines, it's one entity, right? So we can send it to the back. We can go right click after you select it. So first you left click select. You can select more than one item. Then you can right click and say, hey, I want to send this to the back. So go to draw order and send it to the back. And 3, 2, 1, don't blink. And notice it went to the back. It's behind the visible object line and any other lines that existed prior to the center mark. All right, so I'm still not happy with it. It still doesn't look clean. If you want to leave it alone, that's fine. See this? It's just way overextended. Here on top, it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and use the grips to shorten it. I forget if it's the squared or the arrow. Let's try the squared one first. See what happens when I try and move it. Let me turn off Object Snap. Okay, I'm either misclicking or not doing something right. Say, let me go. Oh, actually it is changing the length. There it is. Maybe there's a limit. And let me click up here. Okay, it did shorten it some. Let me try the arrow. Left mouse click. Yep, so there it is. We shortened it a bit. Hit escape to deselect. Okay, that looks cleaner. Okay, you can leave it the way it is. Another option here with the green center line. Oh, hit escape. I clicked on the wrong item. Trying to click on the center mark. Hit escape. I'm clicking on the yellow construction line. So let me temporarily turn off my construction layer. I am misclicking, and this is because the green center mark is in the background. Okay, it's in the back as far as the drawing order. Let me turn off construction lines temporarily. Okay, so now I should be able to select my green center mark. Okay, so same thing. You can leave it the way it is, but this doesn't look presentable. So I'm going to go ahead and shorten the center mark. So we've been talking about overextending. In this case, we're going to shorten it. Okay, hit escape, and it just looks more presentable this way. Okay, but I'll leave it up to you. You can leave it the way it inserts it when we first use the center mark command, or you can clean it up a little. Okay, looks a lot cleaner this way. All right, so the other ones look good. This one looks good, and this one looks good too. Okay, since we are doing center lines, might as well adjust this one and make it longer. Okay, let's go ahead and make this one longer. There it is. And hit escape. And you know what? Let's also go in the opposite direction. Use the grips to extend it. There it is. Hit escape to deselect. Okay, since this is a symmetrical part, right? The top portion of it, with the top view, this top portion is a mirror image of the bottom. It's symmetrical. So a green center line, not only does it mark the center of a circle or an arc, or the axis of a hole, cylindrical hole, but it's also to indicate symmetry. So by overextending this line all the way through the view, we're saying the top and bottom are mirror images of each other. They are symmetrical. All right, so looks like we're done with the front view. All right, let's cheat and look at the answer key. I'm not gonna tell if you don't say anything. All right, so let's zoom in. Okay, so it looks good. Okay, so we have our front view. All right, let's go to the top view. Okay, so looking at the answer key, we have the red hidden lines horizontally. That's for the hole. Okay, so the small plain looking hole, once again, right? It goes all the way through. And I think we're also missing this object line. If it is missing, we'll draw this visible object line from this corner. And then these vertical hidden lines, that represents this opening down here, right? The scallop. Think of it as a garage opening, right? If you're flying over the top and looking downward, you cannot see this garage or tunnel opening. And it goes all the way through. Okay, so we're going to have to draw these also. All right, so let's go back. Let's complete the top view. Okay, so we're done with the front. Okay, so the top view, we're missing that visible object line. So let's take care of that first. Visible object line. And you know what? Let me turn on the yellow construction lines. Okay, there they are. Just, you can see it helps us line things up. That's the purpose of the construction lines, to help you line things up, and also to guide you along. And again, they're just temporary. We always delete them or hide them at the end. All right, so let's draw our visible object line command. So from this corner, gotta turn on object snap. Okay, go straight up. And there's our object line, right? And hit escape to deselect or enter. Let's take a look at the 3D model. Okay, so if we go to the top view, there it is. So we just drew our object line. Okay, we have our green center lines. And once again, we have that yellow simple plain hole going all the way through. You know, it exits here on the back, right? Starts here in the front. And then we also have the bottom, right? The tunnel at the bottom that we can't see. So we need to represent them with hidden lines and center lines. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to AutoCAD. All right, so here we have the hole in the right side view. We can follow the construction lines, these yellow construction lines, to help us draw it. Okay, so there it is. So for the hidden lines, you just pick the left quadrant, right quadrant of the circle, right? The circular hole projects straight up to the 45 and go across, and this is where the red hidden lines are located. The center line, right, from the center of the circle, circular hole, go straight up, hit the 45, go across, and it happens to share the existing long green center line, this horizontal line, right? So we don't have to draw another one. We can just share this green center line that's already there. Okay, so that's the hard way or the long way of doing it. Let me show you the easy way. Let me hit escape. So we know it's located here for the red hidden line, and we're going to share the same center line. So we don't have to redraw a center line. We'll just share it with the existing one. Okay, so I'm going to show you a shortcut here. Hit escape. All right, so I'm going to take these red hidden lines and I'm just going to copy them over. Why? Because it's the same hole. Okay, so these red hidden lines also represent this simple plain hole, right? So I'm going to do a copy move. Okay, so copy command. My mistake, I didn't mean to say move. I just wanted to say copy. We're going to use the copy command. Copy, click. But notice I pre-selected the red hidden lines first. Let me hit escape in case you missed it. Let me hit escape. I'm going to pre-select the red hidden lines and hit copy. So now AutoCAD knows that I'm going to copy the red hidden lines. Copy. And now we need a base point, a handle, right? Okay, so I'm going to grab it here where the green center line intersects the object line. So I'm going to pick this intersection, see the green X, click, and I'm going to copy it up. There it is, right? Trying to pick the intersection, seems right, or midpoint, either one will work. The midpoint of the visible white object line, and click. And we can keep clicking to make more copies, but I'm done. So I'm just going to right click enter to exit, or just hit enter on the keyboard. And there it is. Ta-da! Did we cheat? Yeah, right? It's okay, we didn't get caught. So let's move on to the next feature, the tunnel. Okay, so we have the tunnel here. And going back to the 3D model, we don't see it from the top, but we know that tunnel is down here, right? We can see it. From the bottom view, we can see the tunnel. You can also make the argument, hey, teacher, can we add a bottom view? Yes, we can. We can add a bottom view. It's not necessary. Okay, so when you create a drawing, you try and use the minimum amount of views to show all the features. Right? You don't want to create extra views because then your boss is going to say, hey, you're costing me money. You're creating extra views that are not needed. So you just, in your drawing, put the minimum amount of views necessary to show all the features and sizes and size of the part. Okay. All right. Because your instinct will be to show as many views as possible. You just show the minimum amount, just like giving directions to McDonald's, right? Go down the street, make a right at the light, and at the left side corner, there it is, right? Just give plain, simple instructions. Same thing with the drawing. All right, let's go back to AutoCAD. Okay, so the tunnel, right? We can't see it from the top view. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw hidden lines. So let's go to the hidden layer. Hold on, let me hit escape to make sure I didn't select something by mistake. Hit escape on the keyboard, upper left key on the keyboard. Okay, so we are in the visible. We're going over to the hidden layer. Okay, so use the line command. And again, from the quadrant of the tunnel, right? The right quadrant, we're going to go straight up, track it. There it is. Click, and it's going to go all the way through and exit out the back. Okay, there it is. Right click, enter. Okay, so same thing on the left. We're going to use the line command once again, and from the left quadrant of this arc, we're going to go straight up. There it is. Click, and click, and right click enter or hit escape. And there it is, okay? Now, don't forget, this is a semicircle, right? Or semi-cylindrical feature. We also need the axis, the center line, okay? So if we go back to the 3D model, even though this is a half a cylinder, we do need the axis, right? The axis of this cylinder, just like we did the axis for the yellow hole and the axis of this semi-cylinder also. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing. It's easy to miss the axis on semi-cylindrical shapes. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so we're going to go to the green center line, green center layer, use the line command. And again, from the center mark, we're going to go straight up. And you want it to be slightly overextended, click. Or actually, quite a bit overextended, right? And click. And hit escape. Again, just eyeball how much to overextend. All right, so once again, this green center line, the horizontal, it's serving quite a few purposes here. It's representing symmetry between the top portion and the bottom portion of this top view. It's symmetrical. And it's also serving as part of the center mark for the arc and also the axis line for the hole, the circular hole. Okay, so we can share the same center line. One thing you cannot do is extend one center line from one view over to another. You cannot share the same center line between views. Okay, so this center line has to be separate from this one, and this center line has to be separate from this one because they are in different views. All right, so double click. Oh, let me hit escape. Double click on the wheel. I'm trying to do a zoom fit. Okay, there it is. All right, so we take care of the top view. It looks like we're done. And let's do the right side view. Let's look at the answer key. Don't tell nobody. Yep, there it is. We have everything for the top view, front view, now the right side view. Okay, so we already have the center mark. And we're missing the axis. See this center line? That's the same one we see here on the left. Okay, so let's focus on the right side view. So we have this green center line, this axis line. For this one right here, right? So we have this semi-cylindrical shape, and even though we don't physically see a center line or an axis line, we have to draw it in. And again, as I mentioned in other videos, the reason we draw center lines, it's for measuring and also for the machine shop. They're going to aim for the center of the hole. So the center or the axis is important for machining. Okay, the machinist is going to aim for that center or that axis. All right, let's go back. Okay, so once again, this center line we see here is the same one we're going to put here. But we can cheat and overextend this one. So this existing center mark, let me turn off the yellow construction layer, in your case magenta. So I'm going to cheat and just use this one. I'm going to click on it and extend it with the arrows. Do the same thing on top because the left side is symmetrical to the right side. So we can draw an overextended green center line to show that these are mirror images. So now this line serves as a line of symmetry. It serves as part of the center mark and also the axis of that semi-cylindrical shape. Okay, I'm going to hit escape to deselect. There it is. Okay, so now we have an object line going across from this corner. Okay, so if we go back to the 3D model, okay, if we take a look at the right side view, there it is. Okay, so we're going to draw an object line going across. Now, if I slightly tilt it, you can see that this portion of the line is an arc, right? So it's going to start off as a straight line, and then it's going to arc, and then continue on as a straight line. But from this perspective, from the right side view, it's going to look like a straight line going all the way across. Okay, so we're going to draw a visible object line just going all the way across. It's a combination of this horizontal, this arc, and horizontal, and it looks like a straight line from this perspective. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so let me zoom in slightly. Let me turn on my construction layer. Okay, so there it is. Let me go over to the visible object lines. Layer, draw our object line, click. Well, I'll shorten it. I didn't mean to click there, I meant to track, but that's okay. I'll go across, all the way across, and click. And right click enter to exit. And I'm going to use the grips to shorten it to the correct length. And there it is. And hit escape to deselect. Okay, so there it is. All right, now we have the opening, right? We have that opening here in this area. Let's go back to the 3D model. So we're missing these two object lines. And that's the size of our opening here, as you can see, right? That's the size of the opening. So let's draw these two object lines. Let's go back to side view. And there it is. All right, so back to AutoCAD. So we can track it from the top view. Once again, we have this 45-degree angle construction line. So if you were starting this drawing from scratch on your own, you would first draw a box representing the length and the height. And you can draw another box. You just eyeball how much space you're going to need. Later on, we'll talk about spacing when we start adding dimensions, measurements. Okay, then you draw a box for the height and the depth of the part. And then from this corner, you draw a 45. And then you project up to help us create the box. Whoop, hit escape. I didn't mean to select. So we go straight up. Hit the 45 and across. From this opposite corner, go straight up, hit the 45 and across. And then from the front view, go to the furthest left corner, go straight up, and the furthest right corner, and go straight up, and that'll create our box for the top view. And then you start drawing your object lines, center lines, hidden lines, etc. All right, so we're going to cheat and use our top view, in this case, to help us locate those two object lines. Okay, so let's go to the visible layer, line command. So we're going to go across from this vertex, go across, hit the 45 and come straight down. And we have our object line. Ta-da! Hit escape. Okay, so let's do the same thing for the opposite corner of this opening. Line command, once again. From this corner, you're going to go across, hit the 45, go straight down, and there's our object line. Okay, and hit escape. One thing I will check is you got to make sure there's no gaps. So it's kind of common to have a gap. You didn't click or you misclicked, for example. Okay, so let me turn off Object Snap temporarily. So there will be situations where you misclick and you have a gap. And I will take points off. There shouldn't be a gap there, right? I will circle it, tell you, hey, there's a gap. There shouldn't be a gap there. And later on, if you forget about gaps, later on when we do section views where we take an imaginary cut down the middle of a part to expose its inside features, just like taking a cut of an engine or car transmission, where you take a cut down the middle to expose its features, and you can use it as a model for training other mechanics, or to have in an auto parts store to show how the fluids, whether it's transmission oil or motor oil, how it travels through the transmission and or motor. Okay, so let me extend it. Let me turn on Object Snap to make sure it clicks in the right place. There it is, and hit escape. All right, so looks like we have everything. Let me turn off the construction layer, turn it off. Looks, it just cleans it up. Oh, misclicked, let me turn it off. It's telling me, hey, you sure you want to turn off the layer that's currently active? Like, yeah, let me turn it off. Okay, so I had a construction layer selected by mistake, and then I turned it off, so it gave me that warning. Hey, right now the current active layer is construction, and you're trying to turn it off. So if you were to create new geometry, like a circle, let's say I wanted to draw a circle. I just drew a circle. Teacher, what happened to the circle? Well, it's on the construction line, which is currently active and turned off. But if I turn it on, there's a circle, right? So I don't want construction line layer on. It's giving me that warning again. And now let me move over to hidden line layer. The reason I want to move over to hidden line layer, because some of you are thinking, hey, teacher, you missed something. Like, what did I miss? You forgot about the tunnel. Remember the same tunnel that we see in the front view? We have it here with red hidden lines. If you go to the 3D model, right, there's that tunnel in the back, right? So we need to represent it with the hidden line and the green center line. You forgot about it, right? So we have this tunnel down here that we need to somehow represent in our side view. All right, so side view. Now, even though we don't see the tunnel going from left all the way through and exiting out the right, we need to represent it, right? So let's go back to AutoCAD. Okay, so here's the tunnel, the opening, right? So let me hit escape to deselect. So red hidden line from the top quadrant, going across, right? There it is. Hit escape to deselect. Let me shorten it to the correct length using the grips and hit escape. Okay, there's the red hidden line. Okay, let's go with the green center line from the center mark. So green center layer, green center line. Okay, so go across. You want it slightly overextended and click. And there it is. So now, even though this is correct, we do have that red hidden line and the green center line representing the tunnel, right? It doesn't look good. So you can leave it alone if you like. It doesn't look right. Keep in mind that the red hidden line is in the background, right? It's in the back portion of this part. So you want to take the red hidden line and move it to the background. Right click, draw order, and send to the back. So the object line wins because you can actually physically see it in the model, the visible object line. And it's thicker when we draw it, so it overrides that hidden line. So we can actually just leave it out. Even though that red hidden line is there, it's being overwritten by a solid, thicker, visible object line. So we can just leave it out. Same thing with this green center line. It's overlapped by this long, visible object line. So if I was to click on it, and then right click to send draw order to the back, here's what it looks like. So it's actually better to leave them out. Okay, even though this is correct, it's like, hey, it's only a piece of it sticking outward, representing that axis for that tunnel. You can leave it, but it actually looks cleaner if you just leave it out. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you if you want to keep the red hidden line and the green center line. I'm going to choose to just delete it, select and hit the eraser, but either way is correct. Okay, so all right, so and there's plenty of situations like that where you just want to send them to the back or even just delete them or hide them. Okay, so let me double click. Okay, looks like we're done. Okay, let me go ahead and change the name. So I need to double click. Okay, so highlight, left mouse click and highlight everything. So it's all blue. Oop, I accidentally moved the text. Didn't try to do that on purpose. All right, that was just a mistake. So let me type in your name, right? Once you're done, hit Shift Enter, or maybe Control Enter, or just simply click outside the text box to exit. And there it is. Okay, don't forget to save it with your initials. So currently, problem 3-21, the original file, is the one we have open. So now let's give it a different name. Click on the AutoCAD icon, go to Save As. Okay, so I'm going to save it with my initials, or I can type in completed, but definitely keep the name or the numbers for this problem 3-21. Use your name, initials, or just type in completed. And I'm going to save it. And look at the top when I save it. And 3, 2, 1, save. Did you blink? There it is. So it's showing it's on the desktop in this folder, and it's problem 3-21JU. right? My initials. You can always go back and open the original one. If I go back to AutoCAD icon, you can always go back and open the original. So here are the recent documents that I've opened. If I go back to the original, problem 3-21, right? So it's good to keep the original copy just in case you mess up your copy, right? You need to start over again. Okay, so here is tab 321, the original file that I emailed you. And if we tab over to this one, this is your file, right? Or in this case, my completed file. If you want to close it, you can just click on the X. Just don't forget to make sure you save. If you make any changes, hit the save icon. And if you want, you can close it. Same thing with this one. We don't need it anymore, so we can just close it by clicking on this little X. And once again, nope, I don't want to save any changes to this original copy. Nope, I'll just leave it. So if you because I zoomed in and out, it assumed I made some changes. So nope, don't want to save any changes to this original file. Okay, so and just a reminder, if you're going to email it to me, make sure to close the files first because you may have trouble attaching them to the email. Okay, once again, I don't need your PDF file. I'm not even going to look at the PDF file if you email it to me. All I need is your AutoCAD file. All right, end of video.